Welcome back to the Self-Care Zone podcast. Today we're unpacking a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, but isn't always understood. Self-care. I want to take you beyond the bubble baths and the spa days and into the real heart of what self-care actually means. We'll look at how living in alignment with who you are can completely shift the way that you look at yourself and why that really matters both personally and professionally. So if you've ever found yourself feeling like you're just ticking the self-care box, but not actually feeling any better, this one's for you. Self-care has become one of those buzzwords that everyone throws around. You see it on Instagram captions, on water bottles, in advertisements telling you to treat yourself. That's been packaged as the products or a quick fix. And don't get me wrong, those things aren't bad. A bath, a massage, a scented candle, they can feel amazing. But when we reduce self-care down to just those things, we miss the real point. Let me share a story. Years ago, when I was working flat out, I thought I was doing self-care because every now and then I'd book in a massage. And honestly, I loved it. I'd walk out of the massage room feeling lighter, more relaxed, like I'd had a proper rest. But here's what happened. By Monday morning, nothing had changed. I was still overwhelmed. The deadlines were still there, the long hours, the pressure, the emotional load. And I'd fallen into the trap of thinking that one massage would somehow undo weeks of stress I was piling on myself. That's what a lot of us do. We dip in and out of self-care when we're desperate. We think, I'll just push through until the weekend, or I'll just make it until my holiday, or I'll be fine if I book that one afternoon off. But here's the truth. If self-care is something that we only do when we're already burnt out, it's not really working. It's not integrated. It's not protecting you. It's just patching up the damage. So the first big shift is moving away from this idea that self-care is an activity you tick off every now and then and seeing it instead as a way of living. Think about the last time that you treated yourself in the name of self-care. Did it actually change how you felt the following week? Or did life just go back to the same old grind? So if self-care isn't just bubble baths and timeouts, what is it? To me, self-care is living in a way that supports who you are. It's making daily choices that protect your energy, honor your values, and help you show up in a world as your best self. That doesn't always look glamorous. In fact, sometimes it's really unglamorous. Sometimes it's going to bed early instead of watching just one more episode. Sometimes it's saying no to something that everyone else seems excited about because you know deep down it's not right for you. I like to think of self-care in two categories: maintenance and emergency response. Maintenance is the stuff that we weave into our daily life that keeps you steady: sleep, movement, boundaries, connection, nutrition, and rest. Emergency response is the bubble bath, the holiday, the treat. It's great, but it's not enough on its own. The danger is when we live in emergency response mode all the time, always waiting until we're at the breaking point before we step in. Here's another example. I worked with someone who was absolutely incredible at her job, but she just ran herself ragged. She loved what she did, but she gave so much of herself that she had nothing left at the end of the week. She'd spend her weekends flat on the couch calling it self-care because she was resting. But really, she was just recovering from exhaustion. And that's the thing. If your self-care only happens when you're completely depleted, it's not really care, it's survival. So real self-care is less about indulgence and more about sustainability. It's the small, consistent choices that mean you don't have to constantly bounce back from burnout. This is where alignment comes in. Alignment means living in a way that matches your values and your needs. It's when your choices actually reflect who you are and what really matters most to you. When you're not aligned, everything feels heavier. Even simple things drain you because they're pulling you away from your core. I'll be honest, there was a period where I said yes to things purely because they looked good on paper. Work opportunities that seemed impressive, projects that ticked the should box. But inside, I knew they weren't aligned. I wasn't passionate about them. They didn't connect with my values. And every time I worked on them, I just felt resentful. Now, contrast that with saying yes to things that are aligned, things that fit my values of connection, growth, service, and well-being. The work might still be hard. It might stretch me, but instead of draining me, it fuels me. Even on tough days, I feel energized because it's aligned. And that's the shift. When you live in alignment, self-care isn't something you have to add on. It's baked into the way you live and work. You stop chasing things that don't fit and you start creating spaces for the things that do. Take a moment to think. What are your top 3 values that guide your life? And now ask yourself, are the choices I'm making each week actually aligned with those values? Or am I constantly compromising them? Maybe use that for your journal prompt this week. Let's bring this into something practical. Here are a few ways you can start weaving alignment and self-care into your life right now. Clarify your values. Grab a journal and write down 3 things that matter most to you. These are your compass. Every decision you make should line up with them. Do an energy audit. For a week, jot down what energizes you and what drains you. Notice patterns. Maybe certain people leave you feeling flat, or certain tasks always light you up. That's data that you can use to make more aligned choices. Set a boundary. Start small. Maybe you stop answering emails after 6 p.m. Maybe you say no to one social event you'd normally go to out of guilt. Maybe you block out one morning just for yourself. Boundaries are where alignment really takes root. And build maintenance, not just recovery. Ask yourself, what's one daily or weekly habit I can build that keeps me steady? Maybe it's a walk in nature, a proper lunch break, journaling, or unplugging before bed. These small habits prevent you from needing constant energy recovery. And remember, progress beats perfection. You don't have to change everything overnight. Self-care is about creating small, consistent shifts that add up over time. So when we talk about self-care, let's move away from surface level fixes and focus on alignment. Ask yourself, does this choice support the life that I actually want to live? That's a self-care in action. Thanks for being here today. If this episode has resonated with you, make sure to follow the Self-Care Zone on Spotify so that you never miss an episode. And if you know someone who's been struggling with self-care and what it really looks like, share this with them. It might be the perspective that they really need right now. Until next time, take care of yourself first so that you can take care of others.